Hey guys, welcome to Happy Homelands. Welcome Alicia. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Are you keeping warm? It's been cold here in
Oh my
Arkansas.
gosh. I've literally never been so cold since Canada. I hate the cold, honestly.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome to chat. This is Happy Homelands. We do this every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central. And tonight we're going to talk about Donald Trump's first couple of days. It seems like he's been in for a year already. He's just going crazy. That
It's
guy has so much
incredible.
energy. Biden, the contrast, Biden's just so slow and confused.
Sleepy Joe.
And then Trump is just like, I'm doing this, and he's just executive order after executive order. He's has all the press in there, and he's just fighting with them, talking with them.
I loved how we could watch him sign all of those executive orders. And then afterwards he's chunking the pens to the crowd. That was perfection. I loved that.
Yeah, that's. Have you ever been to a concert, rock concert, where the guitarists they throw their picks in the
No, but
crowd?
I've seen it like on YouTube.
Yeah,
That's
they do that. Yeah, and I thought, yeah,
so
this is like a
cool.
rock star. That's the thing about Trump. He's always a showman, and that's how he is. I mean, there's
Yep.
pros and cons to that, but I think it's a lot of fun to see that. And it's definitely been high energy, it's exceeded my expectations, and we're going to get into that. We're going to dive into it, guys. But guys, if you like the show, please submit your questions. We love it. I split the super chats and rants with Alicia, so it's a way to show you like what we're doing. YouTube has super chats. Let's see. Let me just see, make sure YouTube is going good. I think so. Yeah, okay. And Rumble, let me make sure Rumble's going good. And Rumble has an equivalent to super chats. They're called rants. Yep, going good on Rumble. And I should be up on X good. Let me just take a look on X, make sure everything's going good. I think so. And yeah, there we are. There we are. I see us on X. So, guys, if you don't know, we stream this on YouTube, Rumble, and X, all three concurrently. And YouTube has super chats, Rumble has rants, and then there's Power Chats. The link below. It's just a separate link. You could do it, and I really do appreciate that. And Stream Elements, that's another feature. You can send something. All right, YouTube is going now. It was kind of it wasn't showing up everything. So hey, it's good to see everyone, Crazy Commando and everyone. And it's great to see you guys. And thank you for joining us. All right. Yeah, my first impressions have been like, wow, they've exceeded my expectations with Trump. It's hard to know where to start, but let's say, with the January 6th pardons. That was so cool. I thought it was going to be a slow process where they have a review board, but no, he just allowed these people out. And a lot of these people, they were railroaded. They weren't violent or anything. It is so good to see him out. What was your favorite you thought of all his executive orders?
My favorite has to either be withdrawing from the WHO
Mm-hmm.
or the executive order for male and female to be the only official genders in the US. Like I'm so glad. Like this is the year that the bullshit ends. Like
Yeah.
and I'm so excited. I'm here for that. Like I'm so excited. We're protecting women. We're withdrawing from things that don't serve America anymore, such as the WHO and the Paris Agreement. And we're kicking out the illegals. And I'm so glad. Like usually it takes a while for like presidents to get the momentum and like actually start changing things. Trump, second day,
Yeah.
the scene is already a stark contrast to what it was before.
Yeah, and let me show you guys something about that. You spoke about Canada, and let me just show you. I just there this was on X, and I don't know what this Indian guy is or
Agreement
Sheik. Let's take a listen to him.
for trans Americans who come to our borders seeking refuge.
I hate that term, by the way, trans American. There is
Trans
no
American.
trans American. What the hell is
What is a
that?
trans American? I don't identify as from a different race and I identify as American. Like we're kind of merging two different ideas there.
On that note, I think it's really sad for the folks in the States right now that heard the president basically say that they don't exist or that their reality or their identity is no longer recognized.
Well, it isn't. It's so ridiculous. You have biologically male and female, And you just can't, oh, I identify as a hummingbird. It doesn't mean it's real. It's just ridiculous.
It's really scary for a lot of folks. And I just want to acknowledge how scary that must be for people who heard that, who now.
Well, like our entire existence in America, we never had this nonsense until the last 10 years, if that.
No, like, you know
And they're-
what's scary is having a male in your bathroom in a female space. That's what's scary.
And you got to pretend it's a girl.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's you're the bigot.
Yeah.
Who feel really alone, who feel really afraid. I think what Canada's always done is shown as a country that we are there for people when they're in their times of need. It's something that's been a point of pride of Canada. So looking at the third country, that agreement and how we can amend it, it's been something that we've been considering for a while. We've raised concerns about the agreement for a while. And so it's something we'll look at.
I like it. I like it. What he's saying here is maybe, I don't know what this guy's doing in Canada, but they will take our people that think they're the other sex. So guys that wear dresses, Canada will take them. I'm saying take them, Canada.
Yeah.
You can have all of them.
No, take him. And you know what's ironic? And like, it actually is sad. So like Canada's MAID program has only been ramping up since then. Like they're already killing the autistic people. Trans people are already autistic. That's why they're trans. And Canada, they're just going to go over to Canada and die. And like, honestly, I really do, like, that is a tragedy. I don't want to deal with them in the US, but I also don't think they deserve to die for their mental illness.
I never even thought about that angle because, yeah, Canada's big on having suicide for people. So, yeah, that is definitely a thing. Hey, we already got a super chat. Guys, just send them in. We'll address them right away. For me, it's an emergency act. We've been neutering ourselves with the green nonsense. Oh, the energy emergency acts. Trump seems a different man this time. That's another thing. I almost forgot about that. We are going to focus on energy production. We're going to drill. I think this is going to be huge. It's going to help the economy. Yeah, that is a big thing. But your thoughts?
He talked about drill baby drill. So drilling off of America's coast, specifically in the Gulf of America, opening up Alaska for its rich resources. And then it wasn't mentioned. I'm hoping that he looks into the nuclear option. It's clean energy. It's efficient.
It is.
I think that we would really benefit.
You know, and it's so dumb because I have my daughter, she's in the oil industry. I know, so evil. She's a chemical engineer, but everyone, it's all bullshit. Like, you know, they have that pipeline from Alaska Pipeline. No. They have that so monitored that if there ever is a leak, they get it. The computer detects it right away. They send men to fix it. And it's not like it destroys the whole environment. In fact, they raise it so the caribou can run underneath it. It's not
very
like
eco-friendly.
It's not like what people think. And ironically, the stuff they put in, and I agree with Trump on this, these stupid windmills. Have you ever driven through Kansas on I-70?
I hate windmills. They're hideous. They need to go. We don't need windmills. And I don't like solar farms either. Those are also ugly. A gigantic waste of space.
They really are. And windmills especially. My son's a bird biologist, and they just tear up the bird population. They're not environmental. They're not even energy efficient because you got to build them. They're ugly. And Trump is right. The ones they do offshore, they're actually harming the whales. And a lot of people don't understand this, and we haven't talked about this, Alicia, but even though I'm right wing, I love the environment. I love beauty. I don't want litter. I don't want trash. I don't want to dump toxic waste in our lakes. So I'm not anti-environment, but this is just dumb. I think we can have both. We can have clean energy. And as you said, nuclear is one of the cleanest energies around. And everyone thinks, oh, it's going to be a nuclear bomb or Chernobyl. No, we can do this safely. We have the technology now and it's clean. I would love to see an investment in that. So I really like what Trump is doing in the energy field. And that should help with inflation because if you reduce energy costs, obviously then everything is transported. So that should save us a lot of money.
Yeah. I think what we're going to start seeing is a real shift away from the belief that, oh, the left is the party of science. And we're going to start to see a realignment of the right being the party of science, because that's what we're talking about here. You know, the windmills, they, like you said, they disrupt whales' migration patterns because they make this sound that the whales can hear, and it really messes them up and it kills them. And windmills on land are bird graveyards. And and your hunters, us hunters are some of the most ecologically minded people out there. We're the ones that are like actively taking care of the environment, and we're mostly right wing. Along with the bill that got passed with protecting women from gender ideology, they also used the definition of female as one as is conceived upon conception. That's in the executive order, that wording. And
yeah,
so,
well, that is great. I never understood the left's, and we'll talk about the vibe shift. I'm feeling it. Maybe we'll see if you're feeling it too. But this idea, the whole terminology, like, oh, he was assigned the sex as male at birth. I'm like, no, he wasn't assigned. They act like the doctor just willy nilly.
Yeah.
That'd be like when you've had 4 babies, right? Was it they were like, oh, what are we going to do? We'll call this one, I don't know, flip a coin. It's a
roll the
girl.
dice, yeah.
Yeah, no, you know, actually, even before you give birth, if you choose to have an ultrasound, there are ways to tell. I won't get into it. This is a family program, but there are ways to tell a girl and a boy. I just have to say that.
I knew before we ever got to see the baby, because guess what? We can test genetics for your gender now.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, there's other ways you can tell too. You know, there's old fashioned ways to tell boy and a girl, but and that was all like, no, it's just randomly assigned. It is so crazy. And I think, like as you said, the party of science, and it really is. I think we can live in harmony with nature, and I'm not against nature. One of the reasons I don't want continual immigration is that it takes more of our land away. I think we have a lot of people here. We should build our own families, and I like forest. We have a great forest here in the Ozarks. I live in the Ozarks, beautiful. I want to maintain that, but you're right. There is a balance in nature, and like you hunt deer, it's not going to make deer extinct. In fact, we have too many deer here. I always tell people that animal I fear most in Arkansas is deer, because I'm driving. They're just so spazzy. They're like, they jump in front of your car.
Yeah, they'll mess you up.
They do. They're dangerous because they're kind of idiots. They just jump in front of your car.
And pigs, I hate pigs. Pigs destroy the environment. You want to talk about an ecological disaster? It's feral pigs.
Right. And the problem we have here is we don't have enough predators for deer, so they overpopulate. I kind of wish we do, but we don't have any wolves here anymore. We used to years ago.
Well, we need to reintroduce them.
We really should.
I love
wolves. We do have cougars here. That's supposed to be not officially, but I've seen one in my yard when I first moved here. It scared the hell out of me. So they do exist.
No, we had cougars in Texas, so.
Yeah, they do exist here, but not officially, but I've seen one. So, but they're really rare.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I'm for the environment, and I think Trump is that way too, and I really do like that. The other thing, just off the top of my head, I really love getting away from this whole DEI where you discriminate against people because of their sex or their race. We got to get rid of that. That is just so objectionable. Yeah. And most people, they are on board with, no, you should allow the best person to get the job. Let's don't do this quota thing or pick people just because, say, they're a black lesbian or something. And it creates a lot of problems when you do that. You're discriminating against someone that could build a family. It demoralizes them. And then you get someone that really can't do the job properly.
Exactly. And that's what just angers me, honestly, is the FAA was something that we saw, and the airplanes have been, falling apart. The air traffic controls have had record numbers in years past of accidents. And it's because, again, we're hiring people based off of these racial standards instead of who's actually intelligent enough to get the job done. And we're choosing well-roundedness over safety, over people's safety. It boggles the mind.
And I didn't understand this. Like, we saw this with the LA fires. Before the fires, there were, I guess all the police chiefs are lesbian women in LA. And one was, I don't know what race she was, looked kind of black, I guess. And she was the one that's saying, well, people want firefighters that look like them.
That look like them.
Really? Do
No,
you really care when you're,
No, I don't want Lurch to come through my door and eat all my snacks. I'm sorry. I want a big, hefty fireman to come that doesn't smell like Taco Bell to come and carry me out of my burning house, please. And thank you.
Yeah,
I don't need
in an
nightmares.
emergency, you don't really care about, I just have to have someone that looks like me. I want someone that's like a lesbian. And
Well,
then
no, she doesn't even look like most women.
I
Like,
know.
I'm sorry. Like, I don't. What are we talking about here? Like, where you don't fit in, you don't look like other women. What are you talking about?
Yeah, this whole idea, like most of the stuff I get, I don't even really care like who makes my car or who makes anything. If it's a good product, what do I care? I just want it to be good. Like if I go to a restaurant, I want a good meal. I don't really care about the chef's race or if he looks like me or anything like that. It's such a ridiculous concept that the left got into. And
No.
I think I detected it last year during Pride Month because I always cringe for Pride Month in June. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. All the corporations with the homosexual flag everywhere. But last June, it started to ease off.
Mhm.
And that was another executive order I really love from Trump is it's just the American flag flying out. You can't fly it with the homosexual flag or the BLM flag. And that's the way it should be. It's
Yep. I would even take it one step further and say that if you work in a government building, that you shouldn't even be allowed to have LGBTQ, BLM, whatever propaganda in your office, on
I
any
agree.
windows, anywhere else. Like that is government property. There's no place for that. And
And then
it needs to go back in the closet as far as I'm concerned. Like straight
and
people don't flaunt their sexuality. All that doesn't need to be flaunted either.
there's no point in that. And I hate this, especially in the schools. Why do you need to have this in the schools? Or obviously, our kids aren't doing very well in school as is. They need to learn mathematics, geography, history. They do not need to be learning about these made up genders or various types of sodomy at an early age. It's just really crazy. But they actually push that. So I think, do you agree with me? It seems like we've almost had a shift in the feel of America. And you've seen this. There wasn't any in 2016 when Trump it took office. I guess it was 2017. They had riots in DC. You had Antifa. You had the Russian hoax. It seems like the left has really run out of energy, and there just doesn't seem any of that energy on the left. Have you noticed that the people have really changed their feelings about a lot of this?
I have noticed that because you're right. We didn't have riot season this year. We did have the hurricane and then the fires, obviously. But you're right. We didn't. We actually finally did not have riot season. So that has been a nice change.
Yeah, and I think it's because it just went so far. The left, they accelerate so far that it just becomes so disconnected with reality. And it started, let's say, with homosexuals. Well, what do we care what they do in the privacy of their bedrooms? I don't care. But now it's some dude with a beard wearing a dress claiming he's a girl and he can masturbate in the girl's restroom. And if you object, you're a bigot. I think that just pushed people a little too far.
Yeah.
Or, oh, you can't get the job because you're a white man. We're not even going to take your resume. I think a lot of people woke up to that and were really pissed off about that. And what happened at the border, we're being swarmed, and the Venezuelans taking over apartment complexes and demanding rent. I think people just had enough, and it really changed the whole view of everything.
And it's really sad that we had to get to this point in the first place. Like, I don't think that you should. I feel like just I'm honestly disappointed in the people that, well, that depends on your belief if the election was stolen or not. But for the people that did vote for Biden, I'm honestly angry. Like it shouldn't have had to have gotten that bad for
You know,
people to
yeah.
understand the evil of that platform.
I think what happened with Biden, and I voted for Trump, but I think what happened with Biden in 2016 election is they ran Biden, and Biden didn't really do it because he was already getting senile, but they portrayed him as old Uncle Joe, or
Uncle
like
Joe.
the kind grandpa that's just moderate. He'll get rid of all this craziness of the Trump administration with COVID and BLM riots and Antifa, and it will just go back to normal, kind of a calm situation. That's how it was sold to the American people. But that's not what happened. That whole administration became extreme, very leftist, very anti-white, anti-male, just craziness, pushing all sorts of weirdness on it. And people don't like that. People in America, they want to be proud of, let's say, their military. I know you've had some military connections, and they like to see people, soldiers, brave, honorable. And when they see some guy in a dress that's a general or on some bondage puppy
With the
outfit,
puppy mask, yep.
yeah, it's like, what
Yeah.
I mean, we used to have rules in the military.
No.
You can't conduct yourself in such a manner. And if you do, you better keep it secret. But here's like, I'm in uniform and I'm into S&M bondage and my puppy mask, and I pretend I'm a dog when I have sex with other men. I don't want to see that. And most other people don't want to see that.
No, like we're not, again, like straight people are not out there doing sexual acts, with each other and like advertising that we're sexual creatures. Like why does one side get to do that and then the other side is like just expected to act like that's normal?
Well, and if straight people did, and they shouldn't do it, right? But if straight
Yeah,
people
nobody
did
should do it.
it'd be considered a form of sexual harassment. Let me say, like, hey, I want to celebrate. I'm going to put up my flag that I like oral sex. You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell? In the workplace, yes. And it's like, I like blowjobs. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What the hell's going on here?
This is the right place to advertise this.
Yeah, but when they do it in the LGBT community, oh, this is so wonderful. That's like the whole like pride parades. They weren't about just these dignified people doing a parade. If you've ever been to them or been around them, it is just extremely degenerate, open sex and stuff I don't want to even talk about on here. Just really crazy stuff.
I was gonna say the convention in California that I saw was probably the worst that I've ever seen before. Can't wash my eyeballs enough of that, but
yeah, it was. Unfortunately, I ran into that once, and I was happened to be in downtown Tulsa a couple of years ago, and then all of a sudden there was a parade. I had no idea it was like some LGBTQ parade, and then they were like, "Oh, here comes the Tulsa Bears." I'm like, "Oh, I like bears. They're kind of neat." Oh no, that's not what they mean by bears.
No,
yeah, they mean big hairy men that are in leather, and it's like, okay, yeah. And so it is just, I think people, the reality was different than Hollywood portrayed. Hollywood, they portrayed gay couples as very honorable, very dignified, the whole bit. But then you see, and one of the things I think really changed the vibe, I really do. I think it was one of the first, he was like the straw that broke the camel's back, was Dylan Mulvaney. Was that his name? Dylan
Mulvaney.
Mulvaney, that guy and he was I don't even think he's really trans. My theory is he just wants attention because he was once on The Price is Right. And that was before he pretended he was a girl. He was a fabulous gay man. I mean, over exaggerating.
He was the singer for like the Book of Mormon, that thing on Broadway, I think.
Was he a boy at the time, or
Yes.
was that before he pretended to be a girl? Then he saw this. And then now he decided to pretend to be a girl. And then when Bud Light used him as their spokesman or woman or whatever,
creature,
and that was just a bridge too far because it's not real, right? I mean, people can, you can tell, and there became, originally a lot of these trans people were trying to pass, but then we got this new breed where they didn't even give a damn. They could literally have a beard and wear a dress. And we're supposed to pretend, oh no, that's a woman. Always has been a woman. And
that's my favorite in that video. It's ma'am.
Yeah, I know. Yes.
It's ma'am.
And I really, my view is that's probably what pushed it too far. I think there was a real pushback to that. And because without getting into, I don't agree with homosexuality, religious reasons and stuff. It's not good for society. But you can make an argument. It's always been there to a degree, but if it's kept hidden, But once you start trying to push it, and that becomes like your highest value. And when I lived before the show, I was talking, I lived in Hungary. And the American embassy then, at the time, was like Obama. And their number one thing they pushed, literally, was not free speech. It wasn't Christianity. It was LGBTQ. That was the number one thing America was pushing. They had the American flag and the gay flag up. And it's just, we got so off track. And I feel like sort of like in Poland after communism fell, it's just like a real relief and just a surge of energy. I get that feeling now with Trump. Like everyone's feeling like this is how a country should be run. It shouldn't be this total craziness that we're seeing here.
Yeah, no, during his speech, I was honestly tearing up a little bit, but then I had to like keep talking myself down. I was like, no, 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 like, these promises might not even come to fruition. Like, they all say nice things and everybody gets excited. Like, don't get caught up in it. But then he's signing all of these things, all of these executive orders, and I'm just like, well, maybe it's okay to hope again. Maybe it's okay to let myself get excited about a new American age.
And I've said this before. There's expression, don't borrow trouble. I mean, you got to celebrate the victories you get and the good things, and don't always say, oh yeah, but what about the future? What about the future? Bad things may happen. Well, yeah, but that's life. I think we should celebrate and be happy when there's progress and not always be doom and gloom. And some people always have that view, and I think that's it's a bad view to have. I think it doesn't come across well. People don't want to be around people that are always down and feeling bad about everything. So I'm optimistic. It's going to be interesting in 100 days to see how much he gets done. But he's definitely going. Meaning Trump is really going pretty fast on this.
Yeah, he's going hard.
And speaking of transgenderism and dead naming, we can't use the dead name of the Gulf of America, what used to be. We won't say the dead name. But
dead name.
Dead name. Yeah, Gulf of Mexico. We can't say that. That's a dead. What do you think of? What do you think about the changing the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America, and Denali to going back to Mount McKinley?
I'm here for it. Honestly, between America and Mexico, we're the superpower. Sorry, not superhero. I mean, we are a superhero, but anyway.
Yeah.
We're the superpower. We're the ones that are in control of the situation. Mexico exists at our behest, and why not? Why is it the Gulf of Mexico and not the Gulf of America? I'm all for it. Mount McKinley, the same thing. I am glad that we are white cis men, positions of power. America has been villainized for the past however many years it's been, over a decade at this point. And I think that renaming these things is a good start to, as we talked about earlier, shift the vibe and say, no, we're not doing that BS anymore. It's okay. Like, we're not going to be victims anymore. And we're finally standing up.
And I 100% agree. I have to tell you, my initial reaction when he said the Gulf of America and Denali, I was like, really? That just seems, it took me, I wasn't expecting it. And my initial reaction wasn't really necessarily positive. It's like, oh, we have more pressing matters. But I've rethought it. And now I like it because symbols do make a difference. They really do. The left understands this. That's why they try to tear down Confederate statues and try to rename things. And part of the renaming is like, oh, you evil white man, you settled Alaska. We're going to put the name back to what supposedly the Eskimos had at Denali. And it's like, no, it was, America bought it from Russia. It's our territory. We should name it after the President McKinley. Go back. Same with Gulf of America. It has a nice ring to it. And it's something that we can be proud of our country and our heritage. We don't have to always feel shameful of our ancestors. And I know it's just a symbol and a name, but the left understands the power of symbols and names, and we need it too. So I think it's an easy thing, so why not? So I'm fine with it. So I kind of like the Gulf of America. It kind of makes sense. So
yeah,
I will do that. Plus, I get to have fun. If any liberals calls it Gulf of Mexico, I said, that's dead naming.
Naming.
It's always been Gulf of America.
The hate crime, microaggression.
It was just a sign, Gulf of Mexico, but it's actually Gulf of Mexico. Yes.
A doctor looked at it when we
said, oh, it's Gulf of Mexico. Yeah. So speaking of Mexico, what did you think about designating the cartels as terrorist organizations?
Oh, so happy about that. I honestly, what I want to see done with all of this immigration stuff is I want an app or a hotline. I want to go back to Red Scare days, McCarthyism, but on the illegals. I want citizens to feel empowered and encouraged to call authorities and report illegals and see them get picked up in a van and taken to wherever they're going to take them to deport them for their next step. And here's why. I've always been radical on this subject. I was even more radicalized when I went home several months ago. I grew up in a fairly wealthy community in Texas and just outside of Dallas. And there's this kind of like a park area. There's a movie theater and there's very nice stores and restaurants. And then in the middle of all of it, there's this beautiful fountain, and they've made this like river walk area, and there's a bunch of vegetation around it. And then the river walk ends in like this waterfall that goes into the lake. Beautiful, beautiful place. I go back there with, I married my high school sweetheart. We went on lots of dates there. I go back several months ago, and there are freaking people bathing in the river thing, in the river walk. It's not a swimming pool. It's not a bath. It says, do not swim. It's written right there. There's tons of white people around. Are any white people in the water? No, they're not, because we understand that is not for bathing. So clearly those people do not belong there. They do not belong there, not part of our culture. They're not melting into the melting pot. They're just making things worse.
Yeah.
And
that reminds me, remember Trump brought up, and it was true. I mean, a lot of it, they thought, that was fake news. And actually it was true. Where like some of these Haitian immigrants would go down to the park and take the geese and slaughter them. Yeah, and those people would go down there and, oh, the geese pretty, feed them bread or whatever. So yeah, that was some cultures. And again, they're here illegally. They're breaking the law. They have their homeland and they can live how they want in their homeland. They have no access to white nations is not a human right. Pam Hyde, good time for, white construction crews. You could get get most of your competition deported. Yeah, we'll have to see. I was a little skeptical if there was going to be a lot of deportations, but it sounds like they're going pretty hard so far. So I like the idea. I think there should. Alicia, I like your idea. I think there should be like a bounty system. That for everyone you report that's illegal, you get a bounty on it. I think that'd be great.
I want to take my country back. I want to help. Like, let the American people do it. They're ready. It would have given me so much satisfaction if I could have felt like I was reclaiming my home and like making it into the place that I grew up in, like making it actively better.
Right. I agree that 100%, and it's probably the most important issue. And so far, so good on that. The other thing that Trump saw, I don't know if you saw this, and I thought of you because we talked about this briefly, and I didn't, again, the symbols and beauty is important. Promoting beautiful federal civic architecture. So instead of those ugly buildings, Trump wants any federal buildings got to have, like pretty Gothic architecture or something. This makes a difference. Like when I was in Hungary, you had the communist architecture with this block, ugly, modern architecture is ugly. But then everyone loved like the parliament that was built in the 19th century, just beautiful. And people want that. That makes a difference.
Yeah, and it's there was quite literally part of the Cold War was a war on beauty. That's where architecture's style of brutalism comes from, is the subversion of architecture in the US by Russian architects who came and made American buildings ugly as a form of demoralization. Yeah. And I think we desperately need to restore beauty. The other thing that I'm tired of is Pizza Huts getting remade into churches. Like, let's bring back cathedrals next. Russia just made their war cathedral. Like, why can't America, well, while we're throwing up some parliament buildings, why can't we throw up some nice other buildings?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think beauty is important. And I wanted to get your opinion on this because I was talking to some people. This is a huge issue, but let me just show you this. I don't know if you're into fashion or whatever, but let's see here. What did you think of Melania, this outfit?
So interesting. I
I guess
feel
this
like
was an American designer. I don't know the designers, but he was an American. I kind of like it because it's a little bit different. It kind of looks almost, maybe it's a little dark like a funeral, but
so yes, I like it because it gives off like don't fuck with me vibes.
Mhm.
And I love that for her because the media was so nasty to her last time Trump was president. They're just unnecessarily just mean and petty, and she did beautiful things with the White House. Her Christmas display was so classy and pretty with all the white lights, and she made that beautiful white rose garden, and the media did nothing but just crap on her.
Mhm.
And to me, like, that's the statement that outfit sent, was like, no more, or like, I don't care, like, you can say what you want, I don't care. And we're here to make you extinct, is what that's
Yeah.
basically.
I kind of liked it. I thought it was a little different. It wasn't the same old thing. And then, of course, and there was this outfit, JD Vance's wife. What did you think of that outfit?
I really liked her coat. I would have liked to see maybe, I don't know, a dress, but it reminded me very much of Jackie Kennedy because she has
Yeah.
the big earrings and she has that, I think, the nice thick wool. And I really loved her. If that was intentional, you know, an intentional nod to Jackie Kennedy, I like it very much because she was a very classy, fashionable first lady.
Yeah, I like the gloves. You don't see much women's gloves
No, we
anymore,
need to
but
bring back
obviously
gloves. Yeah.
that does look good. And she did strange where she put her scarf, it looks like tucked under
And her
her
belt.
belt.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
style right now. Yeah.
Is it? I had no idea, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I thought it was good. I'm a big JD Vance fan just because he came, from Appalachia, and it's good to see. It's a good story.
It's the ultimate American dream.
It really is, and he's a very intelligent man, and
Yeah.
I know he has some issues, but I think he's pretty good. I definitely support him on that. So it was good to see that. All right, and let me just take. I mean, there's so many of these. Let me bring that back up. Of these presidential decrees or executive orders, I guess they call them.
Orders.
And so, how about another thing? I hope, speaking of people dying, I don't like what's happening in Ukraine. And it looks like Trump said he's putting all foreign aid on hold for like 60 days to evaluate that. I think that is a good policy.
Yep.
And I hope he can wrap up the war in Ukraine because it's been so devastating. It's so expensive too, but I would like to see that fixed.
I completely agree. Honestly, I want an audit. I want to know why it was necessary to send all of that money over there, and I want to know what it was spent on, why, and like, because I'm sure it's not completely. I'm 100% sure there was shenanigans going on.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I want the people responsible to be held accountable for once.
I agree with that. And well, one of the things that it didn't get much play, but I was like, what the hell? Because officially, like the prime minister, president of Ukraine doesn't really make that much money. But when he came to New York at one of the, I don't know, Biden's address, I don't know if you remember, his wife, Zelensky's wife, went on a shopping spree in New York City and spent $1 million on jewelry. And I'm like, what the hell? How are they getting this money?
Yeah.
There is so much corruption over there. They're using our money for that.
Yep.
And I don't think we should be involved with those wars. I believe in our military should be defending our border, not worried about Israel or Ukraine. And I would hopefully Trump can follow through with that and get us out of all these things. So that would be a good one.
I would 100% agree.
Let's see here. What did you think about withdrawing from the World Health Organization? I think that was a huge one. And you mentioned that as one of your favorites. Why was that?
Because the World Health Organization has essentially tried to circumvent and wrest power from our own legal system. So they're the ones that like got everybody to do like the vaccine passports.
Mm-hmm.
And they did this thing where, and they had the timeline, and it was very scary that like if you were going to have this vaccine passport, and if you didn't get your medical records on this thing, then you weren't going to be able to essentially participate in society. It was like a medical social currency that they wanted to establish in the US as well as like, you know, the EU. And it's very scary when you read things about that like that, because there's only nefarious intent behind that. Nobody wants to institute a policy like that for any sort of good reason, except to take people's own autonomy away. And so I think that Trump withdrawing from the WHO, it's a giant weight off my shoulders, to say the least.
Yeah, I think that was good. He's getting a lot out of a lot of these globalist organizations like the Paris Agreement with the climate accords, and getting out of the World Health Organization, because we saw how disastrous it was in COVID. Oh, did you see that supposedly, I don't know if this is true, but this was trending on X, that in this Ukrainian war, as to an agreement to peace, Putin wants to have Fauci to prosecute him for crimes against humanity. I think
If
that'd be
that's real, I say we send Fauci to Putin.
I do
Oh
too.
my
I would love to
gosh.
see that. That'd be great.
Yes.
It looked. I'm skeptical, but this was trending on X, and a lot of people were tweeting about it. So who knows?
That would be like Christmas to know that Fauci was rotting away in a Russian prison.
Yeah, that would be good. Louis Barrow, thank you. $3. Read that Barack Obama is cheating on Michelle with Jennifer Aniston from Friends, show in the 90s. Upgrade if true. I don't know if he would cheat on. I wouldn't be surprised if he should cheat on her, but I would be surprised if it was a girl.
That's what I was gonna say. I would be surprised if he's cheating on her with a girl.
Yeah, he doesn't. There's rumors about Obama and his history about being bisexual, and usually if a guy is bisexual, that means they're gay.
He's actually gay.
Yeah, there's not.
Yeah,
very
I
many.
do want to know, like, because he didn't show up to the inauguration with Michelle.
Mm-mm. There's been multiple events now. Oh, and the other rumor going out is this not Obama's having marital problems, but it's Kamala and her husband. Supposedly she's blaming him on her loss. And so there's trouble in paradise there. I don't know if you saw that.
I don't even know who Kamala's husband is.
Isn't it Doug something, or I forget the guy's name. But yeah, he's pretty pathetic. So
strange.
A lot of these people, a lot of these couples in Washington, is kind of a marriage of convenience, and maybe kind of.
I was gonna say, you know, who needs more credit for their long-lasting marriage is Nancy Pelosi and her gay husband.
Yeah.
Like how and why are they still married?
Or you know who else has been married all these years? It's just kind of a strange relationship here in Arkansas. Bill Clinton and Hillary. So,
yeah, that's another one.
Bill Clinton's had his little fun times.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting to see if Trump does release the Epstein list. It'd be interesting to see who was. I bet Bill was quite
I don't know if
involved with a
we'll
lot of that.
ever see that list. There's too many like high players on it.
I think so. But that's the one. You know, J.D. Vance and his wife, she really seems to adore him. You can see that. I give him that, you know, whereas, and Melania's pretty, but I don't know if her and Trump really have that great of a relationship, because remember the first term, she just lived in New York City. She didn't even live with Trump. So I kind of get, I don't know. It's a lot of these marriages are for other reasons. Well, what are your thoughts about that? When you were talking about that, is that a justifiable reason for a marriage? Is just for, I mean, that's how marriages historically kind of were anyway. So I don't know.
So I think that, like, I mean, ideally, you're getting married for love, but it's always been licit to have marriages of convenience or purpose. And as long as you're going to be committed in matrimony to that person in all the ways that you are required to be, I don't necessarily see a problem with it. The issue is that marriages of convenience today are not maintained in a moral way. That's the issue.
Yeah. Well, it's not even today. I mean, even historically in Europe, a lot of marriages were
That's
because of
true.
political reasons. And like Henry VIII, and he definitely had his consorts or his
Invented
affairs.
his own denomination so he could divorce his
Yes, yes, yes. Because what was that, Catherine or something? His
Yep,
first wife. He goes,
Catherine of Aragon.
yeah, he goes, I shouldn't
Aragon.
have, that marriage shouldn't have counted because my brother was engaged to her, even though they never
Yeah.
got married. And then he fell in love with that girl in France. What was her name? She got beheaded.
Well, a lot of them got beheaded, wedded, and dead. But was it
But
Boleyn?
it was
Anne
kind of
Boleyn?
Anne Boleyn, yeah, but she
Yeah.
kind of deserved it because she wouldn't give him a son. So there's witchcraft there, which is
But definitely, it was.
that's a lot of
definitely
pressure to put on a woman. She's nowadays she says, but it is a son.
it's just the doctor said he would.
Yeah, yes,
He
yes. It
doesn't
was
have to be though.
yeah, so that wouldn't have flown back then. So yeah, it is interesting to see some of the marriages and stuff. So I don't know. You know, Trump, his personal life has not been stellar. Let's just be honest. He's cavorted around with quite a few people. But I guess that's kind of politics a little bit. I think JD Vance is pretty loyal. Nancy and Ronald Reagan, they had a really good marriage. She was devoted to him. So that's good to see it when it happens. But
That is fair.
unfortunately, a lot of times they have their other agendas going on. And that's the way it is. Let's see here. Some of the other great. So there's been a lot of stuff that is coming out. I mean, he talked about today eliminating the income tax. I can't believe that will really happen, but that'd be sweet if that should
It would be
happen.
so sweet.
And so there's been a lot of stuff going out here with this, and the pardons have been, I think, good.
Mhm.
And so far, so good. We'll have to see if it will be maintained. Do you think it will, or what do you see as the future here?
I think that we will see deportations. I don't think that we will see as many as we're hoping for, because of like how bureaucracy works and how slow it is, and like other people, like the mayor of New Jersey, or maybe he's not the mayor, I don't remember. Some person, whoever's in charge of New Jersey, was talking about how they're essentially going to like be an asylum state for illegals and all of this other stuff. And so but I do think that we are going to see progress. I think that across the board we are going to see progress. I just know that it's not going to be the perfect, the perfect solution, essentially, which is a very pragmatic, realist, boring point of view, but it just is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the executive agreements or presidential actions he did, executive action, was the censorship, and that the government is not allowed to get involved with censorship. Of course, they never were allowed to do that because of the First Amendment. But we saw the Biden administration did that with both Twitter and Facebook.
And Instagram.
When it came to COVID and also Hunter Biden's laptop, they put pressure on these corporations to censor. Mark Zuckerberg said they were threatened if they did it because the government can always cause your company problems if you don't comply. So that is good. And hopefully we'll get some more free discussion. And why I'm really hopeful for the world, America kind of leads either good or bad in the world. Like we kind of made the we were the lead nation, unfortunately, with all this woke bullshit, and then all the other nations started, at least in the West, followed behind us. And so I'm hoping now, as we get out of that, as the wokeism sort of dies off, the other countries like England and Canada that are really mired in that horrible will start to push back a little bit on that. And I think we're seeing a little signs of that. And that is one of the advantages of Trump. He can help to push that throughout the so-called free world.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that that the other, like Germany, especially Germany, has a huge problem with their
Yes.
immigrants right now. The immigrants won't stop stabbing their own citizens, and France. And I just feel that that side of the world is at a tipping point right now. And I think that Trump is going to perhaps embolden the citizens, if the government doesn't get its act together, to step up and take matters into their own hands. I would be in full support of that. And for their sakes, I hope that one of those two things happens.
Yeah, Germany, they have a party called AfD, and they're trying to make that party illegal. And one of the head of the EU said, "Oh, we believe in free speech, just not right-wing extremist speech," which is however they define it.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can see a movement on that. Germany has been so demoralized ever since World War II. They need to get their, they have to somehow recover their sense of well-being. But it's not just been Germany, it's been France, as you said, in England's a mess. There's been attacks in England. And in a lot of these countries, if you criticize the attacks, let's say an Islamic immigrant murders your children, if the immigrant that did that will hardly get any prison sentence, you'll get a stronger sentence if you criticize it. And that's how bad it's become. And a lot of the governments are at war with their own people. And we do need a change in the West drastically. And I hope what happens in America can help influence the rest of the world. Hopefully, we'll start to see that. We're seeing some, the AfD party in Germany is getting very strong. The Reform Party, I know it's not that great in England, is gaining ground on Labor. And in Canada, Justin Trudeau is stepping down. Hopefully a conservative party will take over. So I think there's some hope there. So that would be good. And hey, we got a $20 rant from Akna 1970. He just said, "Hey." Okay, hey, back.
Thanks. Hi.
Yeah, hey. So
I want to know what our listeners' favorite executive orders are.
Yeah, if you guys have that, just send
write
that
in and tell us.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. What did you? I'm an old guy, so I don't really get into this. Maybe you do. What was your whole thought on TikTok? I'm okay with it not being banned. Or what do you think? Do you watch TikTok or?
My husband is very suspicious of TikTok. So every time I've downloaded on my phone, he makes me feel really bad, and so I do.
What's he suspicious about it of?
It's
I don't know what
feels-
it is. All I think about
Yeah.
TikTok, because I've never had it. So this is, I'm just an old guy. I just think of like young girls showing their boobs and dancing to music and being silly. Is that what it is?
So like I really like TikTok like as an app. Like it's really fun. The issue that, and again, this is several years ago, so maybe it's not like this anymore. I honestly have no idea. But at the time he said that so when you use social media, whatever pictures and stuff you put out there, like there's a degree to which like you may or may not like own them anymore. But on TikTok, supposedly they access and steal much more data than that. Like your whole phone almost gets kind of laid out, and they can do what they want to with that. That's how it was, to my understanding, could be wrong, several years ago. So I don't know if it's like that anymore. But no, like I'm all for people having it though, because if that's what if you're fine with that, then you're fine with that. And there's no reason, like it's a consumer society,
Yeah.
whatever you're willing to risk is what you're willing to risk.
Well, and one of the things that Trump said, and I thought was funny because I've always said that, because the supposed reason that they were trying to get rid of TikTok was, oh, it's a Chinese spy tool or some bullshit like that. And Trump said, well, he understands it's mostly young people that use it. And so, what exactly would the Chinese be spying on with the young? It doesn't
No,
really,
and
it's
the hilarious thing to me is that Pokemon Go is actually a better spy app than TikTok. And here's why. And what many people don't know is okay, because like I was allowed to play Pokemon Go on the military base, right?
hmm
In Japan. And part of playing Pokemon Go, you have to like open your camera app and then the camera is like looking at whatever's in the background and then like a little Pokemon pops up on the screen and you have to like throw a Pokeball to catch the Pokemon. And it's like VR, virtual reality. So like you're seeing the Pokemon like in real life. And so I could turn around the whole military base and just like catch Pokemon and like, oh, look, here's the base. Here's exactly how it's laid out. Google doesn't have access to this, but Pokemon Go does.
Oh, I remember those days because it was a weird time where you see all these people out in the middle of the park and stuff with their, yeah, that was a weird time. Yeah, I never thought about that. I think really what got a lot of politicians mad at TikTok, because TikTok, they were always kind of left wing anyway, but it was the whole Israeli Gaza thing. And a lot of people became anti-Israel because of what was happening in Gaza.
Because
And I
if there's
think,
no censorship on TikTok, yeah.
well, they would show that. And so that I think it angered a lot of politicians, like our senator who gets a lot of Israeli funds, Tom Cotton.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it had so much to do with China, more is about Israel.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm fine with TikTok coming back. I think it's, I don't use it as a disclaimer. So, yeah. So do you have TikTok now, or is your husband doesn't allow that?
I do have a TikTok. I haven't told him.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll keep that secret
I
from
have a
him.
secret TikTok. No, I just use it to make videos because it's so easy to make videos on TikTok. It's the
Oh,
easiest.
you have a channel that you do.
Well, I do have a channel, but right now I just use it to make videos, save them to my drafts, save them to my photos, and then post them on Twitter or Instagram.
Oh, you don't post them on TikTok?
Not yet, because I'm actually starting a flower business
hmm
this spring. Once everything blooms, I have a bunch of stuff planted. And so I want just a little bit more content before I open that up, because right now, obviously, everything is dead and
Right.
yeah, there are no flowers.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's pretty cool. So I guess there's a lot of things on TikTok. So that would be good. What do you think about the executive order to get all the federal workers back in the office?
I think that it's hilarious and, and a really good move. If the average American has to work in the office, why don't the government workers have to? And they've had it really easy for this past several years, and I think it's time for them to go back to work for the people again.
Yeah, I think the reason they did this is to hopefully a lot of them won't want to go back to work and would rather quit, because I guess it's very difficult to fire government workers, civil servants. So, and this was
I can
Elon
speak
Musk.
from experience. It is.
So they're trying to figure ways to get rid of them, and they're hoping this will get some of the people to quit. The problem is, I guess that's going to be one of the lawsuits, because in their labor agreement, they can work from home. So I think they're doing everything they can to try to reduce the size of the government. I think that was Elon Musk's idea. Speaking of which, what did you think about? I thought it was just silly. I kind of tweeted about it. Elon Musk got excited and put his hand on his heart and then threw out his heart. And he put out his hand in the wrong direction. It's like this rule. We as white people, we can put our hand up. We can have it like this or lower. But once you get a little higher, he's literally mustache man.
Erica.
Yeah.
No, it's no, I think that people that are getting all upset about that are really, really stupid because Elon Musk clearly has autism
Yeah.
and, and to get upset about a poor autistic guy just having so much excitement in his body that he just can no longer contain it. I think that you are just really dumb and are just super fun at parties.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious if you saw the clip, he was pressing his heart. I throw my heart out to you. Unfortunately, he did it in an arm position. But as I said, the people that I don't know if you saw me on X, I was making fun of AOC. She had a big to do about it. But guess who
sure she
was
did.
herself? There, she's had a little issue with that of holding her arm in the wrong position at some of her rallies. The whole thing is just ridiculous. And
It's ridiculous. People are way. Ugh. I think that's the other vibe shift that I'm excited about is just people being normal again.
right. It is so crazy that the stuff we went through, and it's like we went through this cultural insanity, and now we're getting back to normal. And it was like it reminded me of that whole bullshit about the okay sign has been used forever, is somehow a secret white power symbol. It never was. The whole thing just started as a joke on 4chan to troll old people thinking it was. And now I did a story years ago, some poor Mexican guy, he was a construction worker, and he did the okay sign and he got fired for that. It was just crazy. Yeah, because it was like supposed to be white power. And so we got to get away from that sort of stuff.
That's
But
ridiculous.
but anyway, here's one of the leading Nazis in America. There she is. Uh-oh. Look at that. There you go.
Oh.
She she's Sieg Heiling there. There's a picture doesn't lie. This isn't AI generated. This was her. So yeah, it's so yeah, everyone's got to be careful. And see, I don't think people want to live like that. Who gives a damn where you put your
No.
body? It's like no, you can't put your body at.
Don't do it. Don't.
I know it is. It's so crazy. It's
Well,
but
that's the thing is like it's so that's one of the stories that I remember learning about Hitler when he was growing up is that like his mom was a little bit crazy and abusive and because Hitler he had some Jewish blood in him, didn't he? Like, or is that like a myth?
that's a rumor. I don't.
Is that a rumor?
Yeah, I don't think it was.
Okay.
Well, by the way, you
Never
could
mind
have
then.
some Jewish blood to be a National Socialist. It was just
Well, no, it
a
doesn't. Yeah, you could be whatever you
yeah.
wanted to. One of the stories that I heard, and it's probably not true, I guess, is that like his mom would like scrub him, like, oh, we have to scrub the Jew out of you when she was like giving him baths, and it'd be really rough. But whenever you just do this, you create this sense of shame over something that you shouldn't be ashamed about. It just it causes infection and festering and stuff that shouldn't be present in society and just in general and then you create the problem that you were trying to supposedly prevent. It makes no sense.
Yeah, that is true. It actually has a backlash in people then because they want to rebel against it. And it's funny, my dad, he passed away last year in January. It's been about a year now. But when he was a little kid, in the United States, when he went to school, when they did the Pledge of Allegiance, it wasn't your heart over your hand. You actually did that salute like the Nazis did to the flag. They did at the time.
That's
And then
cool.
when Hitler took power, they changed it to palm up, but they still put their hand up. But then that was too close, so then they changed it. But when he's a little kid, they would salute the flag that way. So
Well,
it is
all it is, isn't it a Roman salute? Like,
yes,
isn't
yeah,
that where it originated? Yeah. And so
yeah.
like now because Hitler did it, we're gonna demonize the Roman salute. It's stupid.
Well, like everything is context. And if you watched
Yeah.
Elon Musk, he wasn't even saluting, he was throwing his heart, like
Exactly.
he said, autistically. It's kind of corny, but that's what he was doing. He wasn't trying to implement the Fourth Reich or anything
No.
like that.
Nope.
And when people do that, I think that has just been worn out a little bit. So,
It has. Everybody's literally Hitler these days.
hey, people are asking, because I know we'll wrap up. We try keeping an hour here. Where can people contact you on? You're on Twitter, right? Can you tell them what your name is on Twitter?
Yeah, so my name on Twitter is Alicia Biddle. I think it's like Alicia_Biddle_ or just daughter of wolves. And that's how you can find me on Twitter. If you want me to follow me on Instagram, it's every Biddle thing. So Bittle is how you spell that if anybody wants to know.
And you have a secret TikTok. But
I have a secret TikTok. I'd have to look that up to tell you the handle.
Yeah. Here's I'm gonna copy this in the chat, guys, for you for the X if you want to follow her. She's got some good contact, and yeah, we met playing Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah, let me put that there, and I'm gonna copy it on Rumble so you guys can follow her there.
Yeah, it's daughter of wolves on TikTok too. So
how'd you come up with that name? Just curious.
Daughter of wolves. Well, like I said, I have a complicated history, and I also just really like wolves. So
Yeah,
I
wolves
really
are
don't know.
cool.
I identify with wolves, I think, and so I was like, well, I could be. I just like a wolf's daughter. I really don't know. I was just thinking about it because like you have these catchy names on Twitter, and it's like raw egg nationalist or
Right.
Bronze Age pervert, and I was like, well, what kind of like has the same rhythm? I was like, daughter of wolves. And it just, it's actually really taken off since I changed my name. So
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. So yeah, guys can follow her there. And any last thoughts, and we'll wrap it up.
no, I don't have any last thoughts. It's been a
Guys,
fun chat tonight.
yeah, it's been a fun show, guys. Thank you so much. And we will see you later. And I hope you guys have a great week. And we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.